Hello everyone, it's story time. Our story is called I Was There 1066, the Norman Conquest. We are in chapter 3. Let's get started. As my father's squire, I was allowed to be with him when he, the king, and the other lords met to discuss battle tactics. I fear we have lost the element of surprise with the Normans, my father said, when the council of war met in the king's tent. Perhaps not, replied the king thoughtfully. Duke William knows we are here fighting the Norwegians. He will know we have just beaten Harold and Tostig, and he will expect us to spend time here to recover. If we set off now and make fast time, we can catch him before his defences are ready. The men are absolutely exhausted after battle, sire, continued another adviser, Lord Bragg. It is some 30 miles to Hastings. After such a long march, especially one at a fast pace, I have my doubts if they will be fit for battle against Duke William and his Normans, who will all be fresh. King Harold thought this over and nodded. There is wisdom in your own opinions, he said, but we cannot afford to give William time to make inroads into England. We must prevent him from marching and reaching London. Our messengers say that he has encountered resistance from some of our local forces in Kent and Sussex and has decided to make camp there rather than advance towards London. The word is that he has begun building large castles. Again, King Harold nodded. It is the Norman way, he said. When they invade a new area, they build castles of wood and earth to ensure they are protected against attacks before they launch their own attacks. Building these castles takes time, and we will take advantage of it. We will head south with our fittest soldiers. The others will follow later, when they have recovered and are able to travel. When we reach London, we will gather more men and rebuild our army, while we wait for those who follow us afterwards. A week in London should be enough to gather our full strength, and then we will head for Hastings and drive this invader back into the sea, just as we drove out Harold and Tostig's armies. The next day, our reduced army set off south with King Harold riding at the front. Behind the king came the house carols, the king's own personal warriors. Among them was my father, and as his squire, I had the honor of riding alongside him. Behind us came the men, marching swords ready by their sides and carrying shields in case of attack. My father said we should cover about 25 miles a day, so it would take us about 10 days to reach London. To aid the spread of the march, much of the heavy weaponry our soldiers needed, as well as the heavy chainmail armor that some of us wore, had been loaded into carts, which trundled along behind each section. As we rode together on the first day, my father said, "Edwin, very shortly you will reach your 13th birthday." "Yes," I said. "My birthday was just 3 weeks away. I took part in my first battle when I was 10. Said my father, "but then, in those days, children as young as 6 were thought of as soldiers." He turned in his saddle and gave me a serious look and said, "You have been a good page and a good squire, Edwin. You have learnt all the skills well. You can handle a sword and spear. You use a shield as well as many of the bigger men." As I heard these words, I felt a stirring of excitement. Was my father building up to what I hoped he was going to say? When we reach Hastings and confront the Norman Duke and his army there, I have to make a decision. Do I send you in to join the other squires and the servants, as has been the case as at Stamford Bridge these last few days, or do I risk letting you join our ranks in battle? "Oh, it will not be a risk, father," I promised. "I will not let you down." "Being in battle is not the same as practicing your skills," said my father. The swords are sharp, the spears will kill. Your enemy will not be stopping the sword from hitting you at the very last moment." I know, father, I said. I have been close enough to battle to know what it means. You may die. Then I will die protecting my king and country, I said. You must use your head, said my father. You must always consider your opponent your enemy. Watch their move. An attack with just blind passion will result in your death. I know, father, I said. You've instructed me always in the importance of thinking under pressure. That will help you keep alive, nodded my father. Just as well as your skill with the sword and a shield. And so it was agreed that I would become a warrior, fully fledged in the forthcoming battle. For the rest of the journey, I could hardly contain my excitement, but I was nervous as well. I had seen men die in battle, and it was not a good sight. But my father and those who had helped train me had all told me that being frightened was part of being a warrior. It helps sharpen your senses and make you more aware of what was happening around you. When the battle was at its most intense, I was about to go into battle. That's the end of that chapter. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next chapter. We'll see you later. Stay safe and have a great day.